Now that we have created our assignments for the course, we need to create our final assessment. Go to Assessments, click on Test. This will bring you to another page where you can either create a new test or add an existing test. We are going to create. Click on the Create button. On the test information page, enter the name of your test. In the text box below, this is the description for your test. You can enter information here if you choose. Below is where you enter the instructions for the test. After you have entered the directions in the instructions box, click Submit. You have now created Week 1 test. However, there are no questions in the test, so now we need to create those questions. Go to Create Question, and here's where you will see a menu of different types of questions you can include on your test. For our first question, we are going to choose multiple choice. I scroll down to multiple choice, click, and that brings me to the question. I need a question title first. After I enter the question title, then I will enter my question text. The question text is entered, then scroll down. Scroll to the section where you see Answers. Here is where you can set the number of answers for your question. The default is 4. If you have additional answer choices, you can choose from this menu. I will leave it at 4. Next, I need to enter which answer is correct. Default, answer 1 is set as correct. However, I can change that to answer 2 if I so choose. Now I will enter my answer choices. I will enter one answer choice per text box on this page. Now that I have entered my answer choices, I scroll down the page. In the feedback section, you can enter feedback for the correct response, and you can enter feedback for the incorrect response. Click Submit. My first question has been created. Next, I will create the second question. Click Create Question. This time I want to do a true-false. Follow the same steps as before. You can give a question title. After you give the question title, go to the question text box and enter the true-false statement. After the question text has been entered, scroll down, choose the answer to the question. It is true, but if the statement was false, I would just click here to change it to false. As the instructor, I can provide feedback for a correct response or feedback for an incorrect response. Continue to scroll down the page and then click Submit. I have now created 2 questions for the test. For my last question, I go to Create Question, and I'm going to choose Short Answer. Again, follow the steps that we did in the first 2 questions. I have entered the question title and the question text, and then I scroll down. Here is where I can set the number of rows that will display in the answer field. At default, it's set at 3. Clicking here you can change this to 1 or 6. I can also add a rubric. After I have entered my text, keep in mind this will not be automatically graded in Blackboard. You will have to log in as the instructor and look at the question and hand grade the answer. Click Submit. We now have 3 questions in our test, and each of these questions at default is listed as 10 points each. However, we want our test to equal 100 points instead of 30 points. To change all of my questions so that the total points for this test is 100 instead of 30, I am going to click here, Select All, which will place a check mark before each of the questions. And then in the points box, I'm going to enter 33.33. Then I will click Update. Okay. Looking at the total points at the top, you can see that the total points still does not equal 100. In order to get it to 100 points, you need to add additional points to one of your questions. I am going to add additional points to question 1. I go over to the points box, click Add My Additional Points, then click Submit, and then OK, and then Submit again. Now the total points for this test is 100 as it should be. After you have entered the points and you have everything equaling 100 points, click OK at the bottom of the screen. And you can see here that you have week 1 test, and then click Submit. This brings you to another page. Before students can actually see the test, you need to deploy the test. So here you can have students see the instructions before they begin the test. You can choose to open the test in a new window, but for right now we're going to make the test available to students. So you need to change it from no to yes. You can allow multiple attempts for the test, such as allow unlimited attempts, or you can set the number of attempts depending on what you want as the instructor. Additional things that could be selected is force completion. You can also set a timer, and you can set due dates, when the test will open for students and how long it will stay open for students. After you make the adjustments based on how you want students to work in the course, click Submit. Now, looking under week 1, you can see that we have week 1 test.